might have been for next year or two, for all I know.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today? This is the last time you get to do this, isn't it? As a teacher anyway, you can come back. We'll let you.
Hi, Mrs. Wingfields. Hello, kiddo.
We're going in. What do they actually call this? The Wax Museum?
They call it the Wax Museum.
Okay. Each of the kids takes on a character role, and we tap them on the shoulder and they explain who they are.
On February 12, 1809, I was born on a small farm in Hodgeville, Kentucky. When I was 2, my father moved the family to a farm near Knob Creek, Kentucky. While living there, my sister and I went to a log cabin school 15 miles south of Elizabethtown, Kentucky. At age 8, I could easily swing an axe. In 1816, my father moved the family to the Indiana Territory. 2 years later, my mom, Nancy Lincoln, died of tramadol, or milk sickness. This was very hard and depressing for the family. A few months after her death, my father, Thomas, married Sarah Johnson.
Who are you, Annie?
Annie Oakley.
Of course. I'm going to tap on your shoulder in a bit. I want to get pictures of everybody.
6 hours, 11 minutes, and 14 seconds. I was very important for my journalistic career. It affected many people's lives by inspiring them. I died January 27, 1922, at the age of 55.
Who are you?
Nellie Bly.
Who?
Nellie Bly.
Okay. Nikki. And who are you, Nikki?
Abigail Adams.
Say it again?
Abigail Adams.
Okay, I'll come back and tap you in a minute. I just want to get everybody first. You look very, very pretty, by the way. That's a really nice outfit. I like the cameo on the top. And who are you?
Georgia O'Keeffe.
Georgia O'Keeffe. Wow. A painter. I'll come back and tap you in a bit. I want to get everybody.
Lightning was a humongous electric spark. I became very interested in electricity and began further studies with more science. I was a well-rounded man at the time. I had married Deborah Reed in the year 1730 and had 3 children, William, Sarah, and Francis, who later died of smallpox at age 2. After a few years, I added doctor in front of the name Seuss. I then went to Oxford University in England. My father wanted me to be a professor of literature. That is where I met and fell in love with Helen Palmer. Soon after, Helen became my fiancée.
When I first saw her, when I was 1959. I had many achievements. One of them was dancing in the Jerusalem program.
Who are you?
Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein. Wow. I'll tap you on the shoulder later. I want to get everybody first. You must be Amelia Earhart. Really? I like the outfit. I'll tap you later.
1953, I married Jacqueline Bouvet. We had 2 kids, Caroline and John Jr. An important event that happened in my life was when I joined the Army, and then I was elected secretary, and then elected 35th President of the United States. When I joined in a close battle of Nixon, I won the election.
Water survival, gravity and weightless training, radio communication, and navigation. In 1982, I married Steve Halley, a fellow astronaut, and then got divorced in 1987. I had a small marriage ceremony and never talked about why I got divorced. I was hired to be the Capcom for NASA, which is the only person to speak to the astronauts during the flight.
And who are you?
I'm Helen Keller.
Helen Keller. Well, it makes sense that you wouldn't tell me who you are. Are you going to do your talk in sign language?
I wish, but...
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Lou was my husband in this out of camp for a while, but one day, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark came to our village and hired me as an interpreter for the Shoshone on our journey west. In February 1805, on the Lewis and Clark expedition, my first son was born. Even though I was traveling with a newborn child, I was still very healthy. In 1876, after a tragic incident in which our crops were destroyed by grasshoppers, we
cousins for the summer, and while we were there, Charles died on August 27, 1876. Shortly after, we moved to Burr Oak, Minnesota to share the partnership of a hotel with the Sedmonds. One day in 1877,
I've created many new and incredible ways to create animations and cartoons. Not only was I an amazing cartoonist, but I have done many things that people had never even thought possible. I created the first full-length animated cartoon, which was called Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I managed to make a movie that had real-life actors and cartoons in it, and that was called Mary Poppins. I also created nature films that showed animals in their natural habitats. So that means that I took animals and I showed where they lived and how they survived. While I made many cartoons and films, my greatest accomplishment was inspiration. I made many children believe. I gave them wonder. Without me, you may not be in this happy world that you now have. I also created a theme park called Walt Disney. Well, if it weren't for me, you couldn't go there. I also was planning to build an even bigger one in Florida called Walt Disney World. Sadly, I never got the chance. In 1966, I was diagnosed with lung cancer. So that's a disease that really hurts your lungs and it can make you die. So I died on December 15th, 1966 in Burbank, California. Many people watched and adored my cartoons and inspired me. Walter Elias Disney was a pioneer of filming and cartooning in more than one way. I was born December 5th, 1901. That's a really long time ago, right? Me, Roy, our wives, and all of our co-workers began creating some cartoons with a character I had been developing called Mickey Mouse. Have you guys heard of Mickey Mouse? You've heard of Mickey Mouse, right?
You've not heard of Mickey Mouse?
Oh, yeah. Two of the cartoons, which were called Plain Crazy and The Galloping Gaucho, did not make very much money. In 1966, I was diagnosed with lung cancer. I died on December 15th, 1966 in Burbank, California. Many people watched and adored my cartoons, inspired many and created today's world. For, as I say, laughter is America's most important export. Do you have any questions?
So, Mr. Disney, were you originally one of the artists? Did you do the drawings?
When I was working for the Kansas City Film Ad Company, I experimented with some hand-cell drawn cartoons, so it's sort of like a flip book. You know how you make those? They were sort of like that, and then from there I just kept making cartoons and hired more and more people.
Well, you were an inspiration for all of us, Mr. Disney. Thank you for your presentation.
And it is the happiest place on earth.